Welcome back. Today is the day we are going to get our magnet cut, get our handles cut, get everything installed, final installation, and looking great just like this. Sit back and let's get ready for Impress Comics. What does it take to do all this? Just a handful of tools. Got most of them pictured here. The one I can't hold up in front of the camera is going to be the office roller chair mat to where your chair can just roll over a carpet with no problem. That is to lay flat down to where when the magnet is cut into pieces, you can lay it down and use that. I actually used two when this was a full size magnet, and I'll have pictures and some details of that coming up here too. But I laid them sort of side by side and just used them to where I didn't cut into my carpet or the floors in the house here either. Other tools are going to be your typical tape measure. You've got your razor blade. You want to make sure you use one with a real good stiff handle. Don't use the blade itself because it's too small. It's going to shimmy, shake on you just a little bit. And you also want to use a T-square. T-square is just a lockable sliding ruler, essentially. And why it's important to have it is so that you can set your T-square depth to know where your handle is going to be, the top and the bottom of your handle, so that you can mark the outside of your magnet on where to cut. The other important things are you're going to need a straight edge of some sort that's going to span the width of the cut that you need to make. I use this metal, essentially a yardstick from Harbor Freight, nothing special, super cheap. It's sturdy, it's straight, it won't slip on you when you hold it down with what is one of the most important things, painter's tape. You're going to need painter's tape for every step of this process. You're going to need to tape your magnet down to the mat that you've got down on the carpet or on the floor that you're going to be cutting on, because you don't want the magnet to shift while you're cutting. You're going to want to tape your ruler to your magnet so that your ruler doesn't shift. And now that your magnet is taped down, your ruler is taped down, now your cut's going to be straight and you can focus on just digging your knife into the magnet and drawing straight against the edge and not having to worry about hold this or hold that and things getting bowed and bucked and shifted and that kind of thing. So you want to keep it all taped down, you want to keep it all sturdy, you want to keep it straight. You want to not do this in a rush. This takes a lot of time. If I didn't have a life, if I didn't have anything else going on, this process would have probably taken the bulk of one entire, maybe Saturday, essentially. I over analyze and over measure and double and triple check everything before I cut. And you probably should do the same. I catch myself on some mistakes. I also have a wife who is a mechanical engineer. That helps greatly, so she can double check and make sure that I'm not looking at things incorrectly as well. You can do this. Anybody can do this as long as you can physically get down on your knees and you can put a razor blade through a magnet, which is not that thick. It's not that hard to do. Then you can do this. You just need to take your time. I'm going to show you a handful of pictures and voiceover coming up here to walk through the process. While I was doing this, it's hard to set up a camera to actually record. I don't have a very big room here, and I needed the entire floor space for the magnet when it was full. So there's going to be mostly pictures and voiceovers, but at the end of it, I'll let you know the same thing then as I do now. If you have any questions, if you go through the process and you get this, or you're thinking about doing it, please reach out to me, and I'll walk you through every single step, every question that you've got that you need answered. I'll help you answer on it. It's totally doable. The quick steps of it. The first thing that we did, you're going to cut out the frame. And when you make your order for your magnet, you need to have a black border around it. And the reason for this is when you open the drawer, you want that space at the top of the cabinet to be black and at the side of the cabinets to be black. That way you're not cutting the color, and then you can actually see all the gaps. So you can see it as it's closed. Right now it looks great when you step back. But if this white had spread out to the edges, it wouldn't look so good at all. So make sure that you measure before you order to where your black will span from the edge of the cabinet in to the front of the drawer, so that that gap is in the black. So recapping, we're going to start with the frame. Basically, we're going to cut all of the drawer pieces out, and then we'll be left with the frame. Now, this cabinet has a section right here in between the drawers, so that's going to be part of the frame, which made this a little bit more tricky than most cabinets are to cut out. No big deal, just took a little extra time. So it'll be cutting the frame out, and then we'll put the frame up on the cabinet. Next, we'll be cutting out the top drawer, which that's going to be part of the frame. We'll go ahead and just put it into place. And then I left these 3 pieces down here at the bottom for drawers 2, 3, and 4. I left those together as a whole, because once these pieces just get laid up here and we've got the frame cut out, well, now we've got to trim these gaps. It's going to leave an overhang, and we've got to go back through and now take this piece back off the cabinet, lay it down, and we've got to trim the top and we've got to trim the sides to where I can get that gap to where it's exactly the way that I want it to be. There's a very thin line that runs right down through here from where the white goes to the black. That line needs to match up all the way down for me. It should for you too. That's going to take a little bit of time. Magnets this 42 inches wide are pretty hard to get exactly correct, but it's possible. It's very, very possible. It's just going to take you some time. So don't get too frustrated. Just keep with it. Keep patient. Moving on. After we get the sides and the tops trimmed on these drawers and they're all lined up perfectly, then we're going to start marking out how to install the handles. The handles, these have an old square chrome handle in the very center, and it doesn't look good to me on cabinets that have magnets on it that are cut all the way out to square. I don't want you to be able to see the handle on any cabinet that I own. So what I did is I just made little slots, and you can't even see them until you push your hand into them, and then you can reach in and pull them out. It doesn't take away from the decoration. You can't see anything. So it's the way to go on these, in my opinion. I'll walk you through a couple screenshots of how I've marked those. Again, I showed you using the T-square. Basically, I would just pull it down, leave the magnet where it was supposed to go, pull it down, and mark where the drawer is going to go, where the handle is going to go on the drawer. And then using painter's tape, mark everything up. I've used, I guess the easiest way to say, I've used tape measures, and all tape measures are different. Yes, they're all the same. Yes, they measure the same, but in your hand and when you're down on the ground and you're rolling, some of the ends tend to not hook the way that they need to hook. So I dumbed it way, way down on my process and use the tape measure as little as possible, and I use real life as much as possible. What do I mean by that? Most of the time, I would put my ruler up here on the magnet, and I would make sure we're straight using my T-square from the top of here angled down, and then I'll just tape this ruler to the magnet. And once it's up here on the magnet, which is fastened to the cabinet, then I can use painter's tape to mark where my cuts are going to be. That is as true of a measurement as I can get. I'll line one edge of the cabinet with the end of my ruler. And going from there, you just mark everything, and then you just take it down and you put it on the floor on the magnet, lining your edges up. And once you've done that, you can trust that those 2 pieces of tape that you put on there are exactly where they need to be. And there's no doubt on it. So anyway, I just keep on talking. Let's show you the details, the rest of the pictures. I've probably thrown a few of them up here, and I'll come back and join you here in the end to sum it all up in the end. And let's just see what you think about the finished product on this one. We're going to start off with putting our flat ruler against the cabinet. Just put the tape up there, mark your spots for the edge and the top of the drawer here. We're going to go ahead and put our ruler up on the magnet in the same spot with the ends meeting up. Gonna do the same for the bottom. You can see where the edges of the frame are gonna be with those far end pieces of tape. Gonna do the same for the side. Just ignore all the tape that's spread through the middle. The ones that are important are the top of the drawer, bottom of the drawer, and the top and the bottom of that bottom section. We'll take the long ruler, put it down here, get it lined up with the top, and get our spots marked again. And marking all of this with pencil to start with, and then we're gonna follow it up by putting tape in each corner as you see here. And this is basically a good stopping point. Eat lunch or take a day, whatever. It ended up being about 3 days for me. We got started back up. I put another magnet down beside this one here so that I could lay my ruler flat and it wouldn't rock, and I'd be able to have a good sturdy flat surface to tape my ruler down where I could go ahead and do my cut. And I wanted to cut over here on this side of the magnet instead of the other side. Then slide it down to the next little corners of tape that were marked, and tape the ruler down again, tape it down to the mat and to the magnet. And I always use a magnifying glass that has a nice flashlight in it that I can see exactly the mark that I'm lining up on. And then you just make sure everything is taped down, everything is secure, and then put some moderate pressure on the ruler to keep it from flipping up on you, because you can't tape down the side of the ruler from where you're cutting. So the ruler's only taped down in one direction. So you just want to be very, very careful. We're going to make 2 passes with the knife here, and make sure you don't cut too far. Only go to your stopping point that's marked by tape. You're going to have a very bad day if you continue pulling on that one. So you're just making light passes on the magnet here, and 2 light passes is plenty enough to get through this magnet, even as thick as it is. Slow and steady. And again, on your second pass, make sure that you stop in the same place. Then we go back and we're going to do the same on the bottom, and then we're going to flip it around and we're going to do the same thing on the side. And this is marking out, just following our lines that were set up by our tape corners. We get done with this one, we'll flip it over to the others. You can see in the X-Men script there, I've got it taped there because we've already made that horizontal cut, and I need to keep it good and tight where it won't flip while I'm trying to make the cut. And here is what we are left with, the frame being removed. So here's the frame that's put up here. We've got it just sitting up by itself, black border with a little strip in the middle. And I went ahead and put the pieces back up so I can show you the overhang here. Our biggest hurdle is finished with the frame on, and it fits really well. The next thing that we've got left to do is we've got to trim the drawer fronts. You can see how it's hanging over on the top. What we've got to have is we need the magnet to be flush against the bottom and just barely above flush on the top, and that is so it doesn't grab the frame anywhere when it's opening and closing. The drawers should be pretty static going forwards and backwards, but they do have a little wiggle left and right. So we're going to do that next. Essentially, I've got it already flush against the bottom here, and we will open the drawer, and then I can see how much I've got here that I need to trim off. One thing that you need to remember when you're placing your order for your magnet is you need to make sure that you get a black border around the image that is the same width as whatever your border is outside of your drawers to the top and the sides of your cabinet. That way, when you make these cuts, it's in a void and you're not actually cutting the image, and that way it just sort of disappears. Once it's closed, it looks like it's just a piece of a poster or some kind of art just sitting there. So let's make some cuts. I'll show you some pictures of the measurements as we go, and we'll see how it turns out here in just a few minutes. On these sections here, basically I just put my ruler up and measured up how much space I needed to cut off. Ended up being right about 1/8 of an inch, just under 1/8 of an inch. And I've got everything marked, got it here to where you can see a little bit of the black that's going to get pulled off. And then as I'm cutting through, you can see the piece that ended up coming off. And I did that for the top and the sides and all of the side for drawers number 2, 3, and 4. And once that was finished, I went ahead and put it back up and got it to where it is ready to now go ahead. Okay, we've got the corners fixed up real good. You can't see any overhang anymore. Everything's cut right in there real nice. I've already cut the handle for the first one to try out the process. And the goal to all of it is when you step back, you just don't really want to be able to see it. And these have the square handles, and it's got like a chrome rectangle around it, and the last thing you want is for that to stick out. You don't want to be able to see that at all. So easy to sneak under here, get into there. We are flush all the way across. And next thing we're going to do is go ahead and mark the next 3 handles, get those cut, and then this project will be complete. Here's where we start to get a good workout with our T-square, or combination square. We're going to do a depth to sort of check and see how deep the bottom of the drawer handle is. And while it's there, I'm going to go ahead and mark where the edge of the drawer handle needs to be with the tape on the top lip of the drawer. And then I can go ahead and draw my depth up to see where the top's going to need to be, where that slit's going to go. And with that marked, I'm going to go ahead and put the magnet back onto the front of the drawer. That way we can put a piece of tape lined up with those pieces of tape that are over the top lip of the drawer, so we'll know a perfectly straight way to draw our line and where our up and down slits are going to be. Then we'll put the T-square back on, the combination square back on, and mark where the top slot of the drawer handle is going to be. And we'll mark both the left sides and then mark the right sides, sitting here. And then when we get this down on the floor, we'll get our ruler together and get it taped into place just like we did on all the other cuts. And we're going to go ahead and get ready to make that horizontal slot left to right. It's just going to be a single slit. We'll make 2 quick passes on it. And then we'll do the small draw down for the bottoms, or down for the sides. And we do nothing for the bottom. So that's it. It's just 3 cuts per drawer handle. And they turn out just perfect. They disappear when you're not using them. They sort of fold back out into place. And when you've got your hands in it, it only goes in that much, just plenty enough to get your fingertips in, and it pulls out. You don't pull the magnet as you go. You want to get that slot as high as it can go without showing that chrome. So, like I said before, that magnifying glass with the flashlight was a really big help for me. Not great eyesight on this side. And this one here with Colossus, you can just barely see that handle sticking out. So, hope this helps. Okay, there you have it. That's one 4-drawer file cabinet, gone from ugly to looking really good. Short amount of time. I've told you before, it just takes a little bit of patience to get it through. The result is well worth any time that you end up putting into this thing. One thing I want you to know is we've got 5 short boxes in here, and these short boxes are the collapsible fabric type that when you open it up, you can expand them, and then you've got the little foldable lid here that velcros on. This piece sits down into the drawer, or into the bottom, keeps it flat where it won't collapse again. And what I like to do is each of these, since they have this little velcro loop, I don't use the lid, so when they are fully expanded, I use this velcro to then link to the box right next to it. That way they can't shift or move or wiggle on you or anything like that. So anyway, yeah, we've got 5 short boxes in each drawer now, and this is a very, very, very good project for you to do. Storage is an issue, space is an issue for you. Look into some comic book, or into some lateral file cabinets, turn them into some comic book file cabinets. And I've said earlier in this video, I'll say it again, and I'll say it every time I see you. If you have any questions on this or anything else, reach out to me, and I will be glad to help you with anything that I possibly can on it, any information I've got. If I don't have the answer, I will try to send you or put you in touch with someone who does have the answer. This idea came from a Facebook group. I'm not sure if it's even still around or not. I haven't been on Facebook in a good while, but it was a comic book file cabinet, I think is what the name of it was. So check that out if you're looking for some inspirations or some ideas. Bestofsigns.com is where the magnets came from. Again, if you do use bestofsigns.com, no matter who you use to get magnets, you'll want to make sure that you get a black border all the way around it to where you can cut it inside the grooves. You want to make sure that you have plenty of time when you're going to do the cutting. Don't try to squeeze this into an hour. And whatever you do, I cannot say this enough, do not do this cutting on the cabinet. Don't leave the magnet up here and then just take a razor blade and start cutting around. It will not work. You'll think it'll work for parts of it, but once that magnet gets free, once that border gets free, things start shifting and you will not make a straight cut. That I have tried and I have tried. I have taken every shortcut to try to rule it out for you. It's not an option if you want it to look like this. So take the time, make the space, and do it correctly, and you'll be happy for the entire length of time that you own that cabinet. You will be pleased every time you look at it, and you won't see any messed up cuts of regret that you'll have to deal with. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and if there's ever anything that I can do for you, make sure to let me know, and I will talk to you very soon.